Hey everyone, today's video is going to be covering a bit more of a mature topic meant for 7th through 12th grade students. We believe it's an important yet difficult topic to talk about. It's also a confusing topic, and we often hear many different conflicting messages about it. It's our hope that throughout this video, you'd begin to realize that when it comes to this topic, there is more to the story. Hey students, my name is Casey. On any topic, no matter how important or unimportant, different people are going to have a bunch of different ideas about it. This is certainly the case when it comes to sex, which we've been talking about throughout this video series. When it comes to sex, there's a lot more to the story than we may have originally thought. We hear and see a bunch about sex from different people like friends, celebrities, parents, pastors. We also hear a lot about it in different places like music, movies, TV, TikTok, Snapchat, health class, and even church. And obviously, with all of those voices in the mix, there's going to be some differing opinions about what's good, what's not, and what's best for you. But here's the thing. When it comes to conversations about sex, one of the biggest problems is all of those opinions come with expectations. And here's what I mean. First, there is the expectation to do more, to say more, to be more. And this complicates the story. The pressure to feel more casual about hookups, to send pictures or certain text messages, to experiment, pressure to keep up and participate in the conversations about sex. And there's a pressure to know and to learn more about sex. When you have a topic where different voices are saying different things and have different expectations for you and your life, that can feel like you can't win anywhere. So, how do you make decisions for your life and your life story when everybody seems to disagree on what that should be? It's a good question, and one that humans have been asking for a super long time. So to answer that question, let's look at one of the writings of John, a first-century follower of Jesus and one of Jesus' closest friends. John writes that Jesus is talking to a group of Pharisees who were not his biggest fans. As he spoke, he used stories of everyday things like sheep and farming to describe why he was there and what he was really like. Okay, I get it. Sheep and farming may not be everyday for you and me, but these were ancient times where most people saw sheep and shepherds on an everyday basis. And so he uses the illustrations about sheep, robbers, gates, and that they struggle to understand. And finally, Jesus, he spells it out for them. He says this: "The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." John 10:10. If this sounds confusing, I get it, and you're not alone. In fact, there are a few verses earlier where John tells us that the religious leaders were confused too. But did you catch that last word? He says full. In the original language, that word gets used to talk about things that are superior, better than expected, beyond, over the top. In other words, John says Jesus wants us to have life, but not just any life. He wants us to have more life, better life. It's his goal for us in everything, in life, relationships, and even sex. Jesus wants us to experience life. What's wild is so many of us think this is the opposite of what Jesus wants for us. It's tempting to think that God's goal for us is life minus all the fun and good stuff. And Jesus is telling this crowd of followers and us that we couldn't be farther from the truth. He's basically saying, hey, I'm not a thief. I didn't come to steal or kill or destroy your life. That's not me. I came to make your life better and fuller than you could have ever imagined. The word Jesus uses for thief can be understood to mean a trickster. Think about a con artist, someone who makes you think that they care about your best interests, but in reality they have a different motive. Basically, Jesus is saying that there are people who will make you think they're for you, but they aren't. But as for him, he is actually for you. He is looking out for you so you can have the full, amazing life that he wants for you. Honestly, that's why I think when it comes to your life, the people you date, the decisions you make in your private life, there's no better decision you can make than to trust Jesus and follow his lead. Everybody else around you will have an idea, an opinion, or an expectation of what you should do or what you could do. But Jesus knows you. He doesn't just care about this one moment or this one decision or this one relationship that you're in. He cares about the whole thing, your whole life being better and fuller than you could have ever imagined right now. Out of all the voices, his is the one that will lead you toward that life because Jesus wants more for your story. But here's the thing. This isn't something that just happens. We can't just say, yeah, I want a full life. Okay, Jesus, please help me get that full life turnaround by the time I turn 25. The truth is, Jesus doesn't just want more for your story later in life. He wants more for you right now. And living that kind of life means trusting Him and following Him and listening to Him now, no matter what else everyone else is saying. So while we may feel pressure by our friends or culture to think a certain way about sex or behave a certain way when it comes to sex, you don't have to wonder about who has your best interest in mind or who's looking out for you. Jesus is inviting you to a full life, and that includes sex. Why? Because He wants more for your story. So what does this mean? It means that when you're getting messages from all sides and feeling pressure from everywhere and every person in your life, you can believe Jesus. When you aren't sure who to trust, you can trust Jesus because He wants more for your story. A few verses after Jesus says He wants us to have a full life, He refers to Himself as the Good Shepherd. And then He says this, "My sheep listen to my voice. I know them, and they follow me." John 10:27. Remember, sheep and shepherds were a common thing back then, but you get the idea. It's a metaphor. The people who belong to Jesus listen to His voice. They follow Him because He knows better than anybody. He can be trusted. They don't follow Him because they're afraid of Him. They follow Him because being close to Him is the safest place to be. And the same is true for you. Ultimately, the best decision that you can make for yourself is to listen to His voice and follow Him. That's true for every part of your life, including the decisions you make about sex. Maybe for you, that means it's time to start reading His Word for yourself or spending time talking to God by yourself. Maybe it means when a lot of voices say a lot of different things and say that a lot of different things are best for you, you make sure His is the one voice that you're listening to because He wants more for your story than internet sites, your dating partners, or your friends, or maybe even than you do. Listen, I realize figuring out exactly what following Jesus looks like for your specific dating life and your specific decisions, it can be tricky. That's actually one of the reasons we have small groups and small group leaders who are with you right now. We want you to know that you have a place to talk about whatever is going on in your life and whatever situation you're experiencing. And when you aren't sure what it looks like to follow Jesus in this area or any other area, you have people that you can go to who are going to help you figure it out. The truth is, sex is complicated. And like we've been talking about over the past couple of weeks, when it comes to sex, part of what makes it so complicated is that we often only hear part of the story. We only hear one side. We only hear certain conversations, and there is always more to the story. That's why whether the voices around you say you should be doing more or less, I want you to know that you can trust what Jesus says more than all of them because Jesus wants more for your story.